Right then, guys, how's it going? And welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news. We are live again this week, so thank you to the guys who are in the chat. Sorry that I'm a couple of minutes late. Hello, Yabba Dabba mate. So, if you are watching as a video, thank you for joining me today as well. This is a series I used to do every Tuesday. I hadn't done it for a little while, and I did it for the first time last week, for the first time in a while, and that's basically because there's actually some news coming out of Newcastle at the minute. So it's good to be back again. It's good to be live with you guys as well. So I have wrote a few things down I want to talk about today, but as always, get your comments in the live stream, and we will pick them up as we go along. To be fair, I'm actually quite happy that I do this, that I've started doing this series again, because there has already been, in the last couple of days, 3 or 4 more talking points to go through with Newcastle United. Obviously, we had the big game at the weekend, the first match of the new era against Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, it was phenomenal in terms of the atmosphere, getting down there. If you've not seen my vlog already, be sure to check it out. It's almost half an hour long. And the reason it's so long is because there was so much pre-match stuff. The guys playing the drums outside, just the atmosphere was incredible. So I ended up just including all of it because I didn't want to cut any of it out. So if you weren't at the game on Sunday and you want to know what it was like, both before the game, during the game, wore flags, like all that stuff was so good. To be going back to a game and actually be excited for it was phenomenal. Now, obviously, the thing, and when Wilson scored in the first 2 minutes as well, I mean, that was as good as anything. At least we had something to cheer about. Unfortunately, that was the last time we cheered that day, because 15 minutes later, Spurs obviously stuck the ball in the net and then went and did it again very quickly after. And I should actually say, best wishes from me to the poor fan who obviously had a heart attack or a cardiac arrest during the game. And massive big up to Dr. Pritchard and the other guys in the stadium who performed CPR. So obviously that was a very solemn moment in the game, which then led to a lot of extra time in the first half, and Son obviously got a goal. One of the big points of the game, which, to be honest, I really didn't think was going to happen, was the fact that Steve Bruce was still there. I can already see the chats coming in now saying, I can't believe he's still here now. It's Tuesday night. Why is he still here? I mean, it was Sunday and I couldn't believe it. We're 2 days later and he's still here. So we will talk about Steve Bruce very shortly. We will talk about why I think he's still here, what the options for us are, why we've not done anything about it yet, which, as I say, I still can't believe we haven't done anything about it yet. But in terms of the game, as I say, we started off well. We started off well. The first 2 minutes went well, didn't it? we looked really good for about 10 minutes, and it all just fell apart. We don't know how to keep the ball well enough. We don't know how to defend. I mean, I turned to my friend at half time and said, this is the same defense we had in the Championship 5 years ago, you know, and let's be honest, as excited as I was for the game, realistically, I went 1-1 in my prediction. I mean, even then, I think, you know, if you'd offered me the draw before it started, I would have taken it. Spurs didn't start the season well, but let's be honest, they've got Son. He did play. I hope that he might not have done because of the whole COVID scenario. I mean, I wouldn't wish ill on anybody, but I was hoping that he wasn't going to play. Then they've got, I mean, Harry Kane. I mean, what's our squad worth? You know, St. Max, well, I suppose his value is probably higher than what we bought him for, but St. Max, Joe Linton, I mean, I added it up to about 100 million plus everyone else. I mean, Harry Kane's, what's he worth? 150 million? You know, they've got him. Well, Harry Kane and Son are definitely worth more than our full squad put together. So, you know, when you're looking at stuff like that, you mean, it was always going to be a tough game. At least we had the high of the early goal, but the inevitable happened. The players crapped their pants, ran out of. They looked knackered again. This goes back to the ever ongoing story of the fact that we don't have the subs, we don't have the replacements to bring on, and it just continues and continues. Yeah, ASM minimum 100 million. Yeah, you're right, mate. I mean, he's obviously been really good. I'm not sure if he's quite 100 million, but just based on how much did we pay for him? So 25, 20 million, 18 million or something. So, I mean, in terms of like, well, if you could do it the other way around, because I was classing Joe Linton as being 40 million in that estimation. So if you just swap their two prices around, it probably ends up in about the same. We don't train. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot. We'll get on to Steve Bruce a little bit more in a minute. I've seen a lot of that. People saying what is going on with Steve Bruce's calendar. But to finish off with the Spurs stuff, I mean, we've all seen it. It was on Sky. We all watched it. If you weren't there, I've no doubt you've seen the highlights anyway. Second half were just complete and utter collapse, wasn't it? I mean, the first half was started okay. I think if we'd managed to get into half time at 2-1, then maybe we might have had a bit of a fight back. But I think even at 3-1 at half time, I think look like we're giving up. I think the occasion took it out of the players a little bit as well. I mean, I was full of adrenaline. I wasn't even on the pitch. I was absolutely buzzing before the start of that game. I think a lot of the players went full out very quickly and lost their breath by the second half, which is just shocking for a Premier League side, really. And again, it moves on to the fact that we already know who the subs are going to be. They're going to be players that really shouldn't be getting in the team. Yeah. Standard Newcastle play like golden goal, and you know what? Yeah, we have actually done well to get a few get a few early goals recently. But the problem is Steve Bruce's tactic is you get one and then you defend for the next 88 minutes, and we're doing it against a team like Spurs who have got Harry Kane and Son up front. They're always going to get one. Like, one goal is not enough for us to win a Premier League game, and that is because of the fact that our defense is not good enough. It's crazy to think that a couple of seasons ago, our defense was possibly the best thing we had. We had Shaw, we had Lejeune, Lascelles looked good. Clark was a good player to come in and out. It just shows. I mean, they're all getting a little bit older and they're all getting worked too hard. So, I mean, if you're in the live chat, let me know what you thought of the game if you want. I mean, as I say, the atmosphere before the game, the flags before the game, seeing the new owners in the stadium on the big screen right next to Ant and Deck as well. So that was a good laugh. As I say, the war flags beforehand, there was a lot of fun. But in terms of the game, hey, Jabba Dabba, what a guy. Thank you very much, mate. Jabba Dabba, member of the channel. If you are interested, you can hit the join button, guys. Or if you're new, just hit subscribe and drop a like. That'll be much appreciated. Massively appreciated, Jabba. Thank you. But yeah, as I say, I did not really expect too much from this game. I really didn't expect Steve Bruce to be there before the start of the game. And it's now Tuesday, and Steve Bruce is still there. We'll talk about Steve Bruce a little bit now. Why not? It's a hot topic. I mean, just to give you guys a quick run through, if you're listening, of what I want to kind of discuss today. I want to talk about Steve Bruce. Unfortunately, I've no doubt everyone's sick of talking about him, but it's going to continue until he finally is let go of. I still don't know what is going on. Toon Man says, honest opinion, do you think he'll be gone by Friday? I think the thing for me is that last week when the new owners came in, it was a Thursday. Well, obviously it was 2 weeks ago now. or just over 2 weeks ago. The Thursday night, we had the weekend. It was international break. The owners went in to see Steve Bruce. So a week ago yesterday, on the Monday, I genuinely thought they were going to announce that he will be gone there and then. And this is true, actually. Mark's just put in there, the Twitter rumor is he has been sacked, but that could be wishful thinking. I would not be surprised if it happened during this stream. So that would be quite exciting if that did happen, to be honest. Not for Steve Bruce, obviously, but for us it would be. But the point was, last week, he took training on the Monday. The owners went to meet him. He was back taking training on the Tuesday. And I was thinking, well, if they were going to let him go, surely they would have just done it straight away. It got to Thursday. Keith Downey was still outside of the training ground saying that he thinks he'll be let go before the game. I was like, they're not going to let him take training for 5 days in a row and then sack him. Like, he was obviously going to have to be there for the Spurs game, or they would have done it day one, which is why I'm already worried about this week. I think if it doesn't happen today, and it doesn't happen by lunchtime tomorrow, I would be very worried that he will still be there for the Crystal Palace game. Again, I just think that if they're gonna do it and they want to do it, they would do it right away. So I'll cross my fingers that it's not happening, and then we'll talk about that pretty much now. I can see here from Nimble thoughts on Eddie Howe as he's now the apparent favourite. Want to talk about that? I want to talk about this Hayden and Lascelles bust up as well. I mean, it just goes on and on, doesn't it? I mean, I think I could have made about 5 separate videos today. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to wait off and we'll do it all in the Toon Tuesdays, because I could have sat and done these videos all day long. So we've got Steve Bruce, we've got the Eddie Howe rumours, we've got the Lascelles Hayden bust up. We also have this sponsorship deal stuff. I mean, really, again, I don't want to get too into that because I think it's verging on politicalness and stuff, which I mean is not my speciality at all. And then we'll also talk about some transfer rumors as well, because the main man, Jay Lingard, has been linked to Newcastle after his representatives were actually at the game on Sunday. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, yes. Being a Newcastle fan is tiring at the minute. Yes, it is, my friend. I mean, it's exciting. Some of the stuff is fun to talk about. The new owners and stuff has been great. But if I could just skip forward ahead 2 weeks to Steve Bruce gone, and maybe we've got 3 points under our belt, that would be a much nicer time to kind of be at. I think. There you go. They don't have to do 5 trainings. Shelvey needs to get the Shelvey. Well, this is another thing. I wrote that down as well. Shelvey's red card on Sunday. Why? Does he just not want to be here? What was he on the pitch for 18 minutes? He came on as a sub and then went off 18 minutes later after 2 yellow cards. I mean, we're already 3-1 down. There's 10 minutes to go. He's clearly not getting the ball. Why is he throwing himself around like that? It's madness. There's not enough ridiculous stuff going on right now. It's Jonjo Shelvey deciding he wants to get himself sent off. Is just crazy. Especially when we're struggling with having enough players to cope with as it is at the minute. You know, as I say, we've got just about 11 players to get on that pitch. Having a player like Shelvey, and my man here is calling Shelvey a liability. I absolutely agree. I mean, I spoke about Shelvey in my Keep Ourselves video that I did a couple of weeks ago. And I spoke about who the experienced players are that we have in the squads. You know, you're looking at someone like Richie, Fernandez, Shelvey, you know, and Shelvey just does not behave in that way. He turns up when he can be bothered. You know, Shelvey looked so good in the Championship, and it was because he had the time. We were winning games. He looks good in games when we're actually controlling the ball, which isn't very often, let's be honest. And I think that's why Shelvey's looked so poor the last year or so, because we've got worse. He's got worse. And he only wants to turn up for the games that he can be bothered about. You know, he doesn't want to do the job that Hayden does. Or even in fairness, don't know what you guys thought of Joe Linton at the weekend. I mean, the guy can't pass the ball straight, but he definitely tries hard. He put in a few tackles that I actually thought, wow, he's definitely making the most of this occasion and really going for it, because he did give it a go. I mean, I'd love it if someone like I mean, this is the thing. Shelvey can pass a ball, but doesn't put the effort in. Joe Linton puts the effort in. He just still can't pass the ball. So, yeah, Shelvey's just making everyone's life harder. And we'll stick with the players while we're talking about liabilities. Obviously, it's come out today that Hayden and Lascelles had a bust up yesterday. I think it was that is it Craig Hope who broke the news? He's the same guy who's always breaking the news about what the latest bust up is at Newcastle. I mean, we've had a few, so I can't say I was overly surprised when I saw it this morning, but it's just more headlines, isn't it? I mean, it was 5 minutes ago the under-23s were out beating people up in the nightclub, allegedly. I should say that because I'm sure that, I don't know what really happened there, but and now we've got Hayden and Lascelles. I mean, obviously people are jumping on it because it's not something we want to see, but I think both players haven't been as good. But again, no one has. I still like Hayden. I think Hayden can still do a job for us going forward. He's the player who does the dirty work, if you will. He's the player who's going to try hard. He's going to cut out the passes. He needs someone next to him who can go forward. And this is what happens with Hayden, is especially when players like Shelvey aren't bothering to do anything. Hayden is then also tasked with having to try and bring the ball forward. He gets a nosebleed at the halfway line, and then he's got to sprint back and do his job again. So I do like Hayden. I do want to see him come good. I do want to see Lascelles come good. I spoke about this last week. Only time can tell with some of these guys. Again, the thing on Sunday was it was a huge occasion. The new owners are in. The players want to see what these guys can do. And I think they let themselves down a little bit. Well, I say a little bit. I would go as far to say a lot, to be honest. Like, they started well. Wilson obviously scored a goal. But this isn't new. This isn't a new thing. We haven't been good. We haven't won a game all season. We've won 7 games and 38 matches or something. So it's not new. And as much flack as Steve Bruce gets, the players have got to take some of it as well. And this is one thing I would say about the Lascelles and Hayden bust up, is that really these players should be fighting with each other to a degree. I mean, they shouldn't be punching each other at the training ground, and they shouldn't be arguing in the street or in a nightclub. But, these players, it's a heated game, and there's a lot on the line. And I think I would be more worried if these guys weren't arguing, to be honest. I mean, you've got to have, obviously, some lines of how far you can go. And from what I've read, it sounds like it was quite a big one. So maybe they did step over the mark. But I'm hoping this is 2 players in Hayden and Lascelles saying to each other, you know what it is? We weren't good enough today, arguing about the fact that he didn't play well, the fact that neither of them played well. We've probably got Lascelles telling Hayden he didn't play well enough. We've probably got Hayden saying, you're our captain, you didn't do good enough. And I think then they're both right, to be honest, because neither of them were good enough. I have had a little shave, mate. Thank you for noticing. It was getting a bit crazy at the weekend. I thought I needed to sort that out. So thank you for noticing, Callum. But yeah, as I say, in terms of the bust up, I mean, when I read it this morning, I just thought, you know what, it's just something else to add to the list of drama at Newcastle United. But I'm going to hopefully take it the right way. Let's just hope that was 2 players, 2 competitive players who want the best for Newcastle. They want the best for each other at the end of the day. They want the best for themselves. So yeah, I'm really hoping that that's something that isn't going to drag on. But again, someone put it here somewhere about the fact that it's not the first bust up, and how is everyone finding out about it? Where's your comment gone, mate? I will let you know. Players fight every day. How's it getting into the press? I really don't know, Mark. It's this is the thing, that you're looking at the players. I don't think want to play for Bruce. I don't think the players want to play for each other at the moment. I really think the dressing room is well and truly gone. I was really hoping that the takeover, the atmosphere, the flags, everything would have really been enough to get these players really, really playing for it. And the thing was so how well they came out and how well they played for the first 10 minutes. They went into overdrive. So you could tell they wanted it. They wanted to really try and make something of it. The problem is, as soon as we go down a goal, heads drop. Players are turning to each other saying, what do we do now? What's plan B? We barely have a plan A. Plan A is go out guns blazing and pray we score an early goal. Plan B is sit back and defend and hope they don't score a goal. Thank you to Zach for the £2 donation. Bruce needs gone. Why is he still here? Completely agree with you, mate. I wish I could answer that question. We had someone in earlier who said that the rumor is on Twitter that he may well have already gone, and we are now waiting for confirmation. But we did have that last week as well, where basically we spent the whole week talking about why Steve Bruce hadn't gone yet. Sorry, I'm just looking on Twitter to see if anything's been said, and nothing's been said. Again, the worry for me, mate, is I really don't know how we did not let Bruce go day one with the new owners. I kind of do get it to a degree. One thing that I've seen is that the Saudis have apparently said, or the new owners, I should say, sorry, have said that they didn't see the point of letting Steve Bruce go unless there was a new manager lined up already. Which again, I can see the logic, but for me, my first instinct was Bruce out, Graham Jones caretaker, while we are sorting out the replacement. Graham Jones then came out and said he didn't want the caretaker management job. So now the new owners are going, right, so we can't hire from within because Graham Jones doesn't want it. I suppose there's a few people hanging around. Shola's doing some loan thing. Maybe he could step in for a few games. He was already at the club. But generally, because Graham Jones didn't want it, they're now having to look at another manager who can do it for 3 days to a week while they find the actual next permanent manager. And because of that, they've ended up in this position where they've been left with Steve Bruce that nobody wants. They don't want to bring in a caretaker manager because he's only going to be there for 3 days, and they don't want to have to offer him a 6-month deal and then sack him in 3 days' time when they finally get the replacement that they actually wanted. So it's kind of all just turned into like a massive chew on, basically, is the way I'm going to put it. Zach, mate, thank you again. We need a new manager in before Crystal Palace game. If Bruce is still here for the next few games, that 3-point gap will turn to 9 or 12. Couldn't agree with you more. I think Palace is going to be a really tough game. I am going to the game, so be sure to look out for my vlog on the Saturday. Hopefully I'll be cheering at the end of the game and not just at the start like I was this weekend. But this is it, and I know there is still a minority out there who think Steve Bruce deserves more of a chance. It's hard to say that without laughing, to be honest. There is people out there who think he deserves more of a chance. I mean, I am definitely not one of those people. But the thing is, we are 2 months away from January. We can't sign players. It is the same squad. And the one thing we can do is change manager. So I'm not saying we'll get Bruce out, we'll get a new manager in, and all of a sudden we're going to start winning games. But at least we'll have a better chance of it than we are now. You know, a new manager will hopefully bring in a new ethos, a new team morale, just a bit more togetherness. Because the fact that we've got two, big guys in the change room fighting it out just shows where we are. And we're not in a good place. Hello to the guys who are joining a little bit late. If you are watching live, thank you. Hello, Ben, as well. I'm doing good. I mean, as I say, we've spoken a little bit about the game at the weekend. Obviously, the Bruce scenario just continues to drag on. I mean, one thing I will talk about a little bit is the fact that, and someone mentioned it earlier, Eddie Howe is the new favourite for the job. Let me know what you guys think about Eddie Howe. The thing with Eddie Howe, and you know what it is, really, I'll take anyone at this point because it's getting mad. Rooney linked as well. Yeah, I've seen Rooney. I've seen Lampard. I've seen. Obviously Gerrard said no. Rafa's said no. I really can't say Conte coming in and really fighting a relegation battle for us, to be honest. Let's have a look at the NUFC manager odds. What are they actually saying? We did this last stream as well, so I don't want to spend too long on it. Let's get this over here. Okay, let's give this a whirl. Share screen. Right then. Ready? Here we go. So, no. Eddie Howe's favourite, 7-2. Favre is still second. Fonseca is third. Actually, same odds as Eddie Howe there. Obviously, depends on where you're betting. Obviously, gamble responsibly and under 18s only. Should I throw that in as well? Then it's Gerrard, then it's Lampard, then it's Gerrard, then it's Emery. Martinez, I've seen. I know he worked with Graham Jones, but I mean, it has changed around since we did this last week. Eddie Howe is the one who's jumped up. We don't want Wazza here. Anybody except Bruce or Rooney. We don't want Shrek. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Eddie Howe is I was never particularly keen on him, to be honest. As I say, I'm at the point now where if they announced Eddie Howe tomorrow, I would still celebrate because I don't want Bruce in the job for Crystal Palace. And let's be honest, we've got the money now. If Eddie Howe is still stinking by January, we'll take someone else, Get him in. We'll see how he does in the first few months. And if we don't like him, we'll try and find somebody else again. We're not under the Ashley era where we'll only sign them if they're going to take 2 pence wages over the next 10 years. Why not give Eddie Howe a 2-year deal with a decent salary and just say, you know what, give it your best shot, mate. Samuel's going for Eddie Howe or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I mean, I think I'd still take Eddie Howe out of the pair of them. But yeah, those are the odds anyway. Brendan Rodgers all the way down to 16 now. I mean, again, it was exactly a week ago when I was on. Eddie Howe was the man that I said that I would have gone for. Sorry, Brendan Rodgers is the man I said I would have gone for. But I think just the fact that he's already at Leicester and, we've seen how bad we are doing. What would make him want to jump ship unless we paid him loads of money? And as I say, Eddie Howe, the thing that scared me about Eddie Howe a little bit was the fact that obviously we've seen what he did at Bournemouth. He was such a hot prospect at one point where even Arsenal were interested. Yeah, so Andre Villas-Boas is there. Yeah, not even on the page there. So he's been totally left off. The Eddie Howe stuff, I just think that he was such a hot prospect not too long ago where Arsenal were interested and there was a few things flying around. Obviously, he ended up getting relegated with Bournemouth in the end. Then he ended up leaving. Why has no one else picked him up? Why is he, if he was such a hot prospect for the teams like Arsenal who were so interested in him, why is he not gone anywhere? Maybe there was no jobs particularly that he was interested in. I know he actually did an interview not too long ago where he actually said he wanted to take a break. He wanted to take some time out of football. The reason I actually think that Eddie Howe has jumped up And you guys will have to let me know what you think about this. And I could be completely wrong. And again, I'm just trying to fit pieces of a jigsaw together to try and get an answer out of this. So as I say, I could well be wrong, but we were linked with Brendan Rodgers, Conte, Steven Gerrard, Rafa Benitez. We've been linked with a lot of people. And then as the week has gone on, those guys like Gerrard who have said no, like Rafa who said no, Eddie Howe is actually a free agent. And I think that after how badly we played on Sunday, the owners have gone, right, Christ, give Eddie Howe a ring quick because we need someone in ASAP. And that's not to say that I don't think Eddie Howe will do a good job. I would take him in a heartbeat if it means having Bruce out before the Crystal Palace game this weekend. And as I've said already, we're not in the Mike Ashley days where we need to pay him 10p a week, 10p a day over the next 20 years, and then we'll end up having to pay him off some huge contract. We can actually offer him a normal deal. 2 years, decent wage. Let's see how you get on. We'll give you the January. And if it gets to January and we still haven't won a game, there's no saying that they can't turn around and go, right, we're in self-destruct mode. We need to try and look and bring someone else in. But again, I actually have the confidence. Well, I'm a Newcastle fan and I deal with relegation every single year. So I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried. But you've got a team with players like St. Max, Callum Wilson, on Almira on a good day. Dubravka's a very good goalkeeper when he's not injured. We actually do have a really good squad, and Steve Bruce is getting absolutely nothing out of it at the moment. So I really think that I don't think Eddie Howe's going to come in and win 3 games in a row, but I definitely think he'll make us look a lot more compact and a lot better than we have been doing up till now. Zach again, my man. Thank you. Eddie Howe, Fraser, Wilson, Richie, Graham Jones, bloody hell. Are we trying to be Bournemouth? I think so, mate. Yeah. You know what? I was so disappointed when we brought Fraser in on that free, and then never played him. You've got to look at some of these players. What has Fraser done wrong to not even get on? When we do bring him on, it's 5 minutes before the end and he hasn't got any time. But yeah, I think that's what we're trying. I mean, again, some people might say that the Wilson, Fraser, Eddie Howe mix might be a kind of a good little group to bring back together. I'm not necessarily... I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, they'll already know him, so that is definitely not a bad thing. And he did used to get a tune out of him at Bournemouth. So I'm not saying that isn't a bad thing to have, but I just think that we desperately need a change. And Eddie Howe's the favourite. In my eyes, I think he's the favourite more than anything else because he's a manager who hasn't got a club. We've fell into this scenario. Like if this takeover had gone through in May, 1st of June, mid-June, we would have had that summer to find a manager, give them some time to buy people, give them some actual time to strategize what they want to do. You look at people like Mourinho was available, but now went to Roma. Rafa obviously went to Everton. These guys are moving on, and even players like Gerrard, maybe in the summer he might have moved. I don't think he wants to leave Rangers mid-season and be like, see you later. I think he's built a great relationship up there. He doesn't want to just sack them off because the one club came in and asked for them. I think, if it was the summer, then maybe that would have actually suited it. But just because the fact that we are 7 games in, we've not won a game yet, people aren't exactly queuing up to kind of jump into that boat. And that's something else as well, is that and that's what they were saying at the weekend, on Sky Sports when I watched it back. Ginola and Kieran Dyer was on there as well, basically saying that these guys don't want to be the first one in. They want to be the second one in. They want a manager to come in, do the work when we're not relegated, and then have the summer to do something. And I've actually watched a few videos yesterday and today with various other people talking about it, like non-Newcastle YouTubers talking about the Newcastle situation and whether they're all saying, oh, no, they've got good players, they'll stay up. I mean, you're more confident than I am. I mean, I'm still worried, to be honest. We haven't won a game. Steve Bruce doesn't seem like he's ever going to leave. So yeah, I mean, someone's saying Keegan back. I mean, at this point, mate, if we could just bring Keegan in as the caretaker to actually try and inspire something from these players. You know, someone said to me Shearer the other day as well. Maybe it's... I don't know if either of them would want to do it, to be honest. I don't think they would want to. I think they both love to be part of the club, but I'm assuming that will be away from the pitch. I think maybe one of them two would be doing it as a favor. Like, really, they would not really want to do it. They would just do it to try and help us out of a situation. We end up going with Big Sam. I mean, yeah, as I say, I reckon the talks with Eddie Howe have definitely progressed, because it went from him being, yeah, maybe not, and then all of a sudden it looks like it's on. Nathan makes a great comment here. Problem with Eddie Howe is he can't spend money, 40 million on Ibe and Solanke. Yeah, again, you know, you talk about managers and favourites and who you'd like to see. I mean, Howe was linked with us before a takeover. You know, he was one of the few people that they actually thought might join Newcastle even when we didn't have any money. Like, that list was literally him, Lampard, maybe. Like, that list was very small. We had the takeover. The list grew to like 50 people because now we've actually got some money to give people. And the fact that despite the takeover, Eddie Howe still coming up top of that list is not my preferred. But again, I really, you know what they say, beggars can't be choosers. Like, I really don't want to sit here and say, you know, oh, well, I don't want Eddie Howe. Like, honestly, I would take anyone at this point. So, Anton Deck, caretaker manager, Ben, I think it's going to have to be. I mean, it's just never ending. I mean, we could talk for hours about this. We talked about it last week. I was hoping to do Toon Tuesdays tonight. I was hoping to be talking about the fact that Steve Bruce had already gone. That hasn't happened. We're now talking about, yeah, Mark said it as well. I'd take Ant Deck at this point. Yeah, it is. The way, if he didn't, or if you weren't already Bruce out, I think after that game against Spurs, you must be now. And the thing is, people are talking about, and I say people, I don't know if you guys watch The Overlap. It's that Sky program with Gary Neville and Carragher, who I quite like, to be fair, and Scholes was on there as well, who I'm not a favourite of his. Lee off Newcastle Fans TV was on. Is it Chris from Gallagher Shots was on as well? In fairness to them, I thought they did a great job, so I'll throw that out there first. But Scalzi sticking up for Steve Bruce, saying I think he deserves a chance. We've not won a game in 7. I mean, what planet is that man on? And what he probably meant was that he wants to give Bruce a go, and in terms of let him get to January, then he can actually have some money to spend on players. I mean, he spent 40 million on Joe Linton, so it's not like he's never had any money. Also, the fact that we're going to be relegated before we get to January. You know, if you wanted to wait to give Bruce a go at spending some money, well, by then we would have lost. We wouldn't have won in 15 games. You know, so for me, it needs to happen now. It needs to happen right now while we're live here. It needs to get announced. Looking like it's going to be Eddie Howe, if it's going to be anyone. We've got a few shouts for Hodgson, caretaker manager. I mean, again, like, this is the big thing. Sorry, man. This is the big thing, is that Graham Jones said he didn't want it, so now they're having to try and find someone to step in for a week while they find a full-time manager and all that stuff. That's what's making it complicated, and that is why I think Bruce has stuck on around for so long, because they haven't been able to get that deal over the line. I mean, there's shout for Lampard there as well. I've seen a few of them. I mean, for me, I'd take it. Thank you, Carl, for the donation. Keegan and Shearer together will be perfect managing Newcastle. Again, mate, what about them two and Anton Deck? Why not just get all of them in? And Jimmy Nail as well. We'll just stick them all together on the bench and hopefully just they'll just ooze the Geordie into them and they'll manage to score a few goals. But no, I completely get what you're saying. I mean, Keegan's got as much experience as the rest of them do. I just think that, I mean, never say never, but I don't think that's where they'd go. And I also think if either of them took it, it wouldn't be because they're desperate for a job in the game. I think they would both be very happy to sit upstairs and have an ambassador role. The only reason they would do it is as a favour to the club. I don't think they'd want to. I think they'd just do it to help us out, which would be fantastic if they did. But as I say, I mean, I would just be happy enough to see them at the ground. You know, Keegan's been banned for however long from St. James's Park, and there was talks about him actually being at the game at Spurs, but I've not seen any pictures, so I don't know if he was actually there. But hopefully we'll see them in some capacity. Hopefully the owners can sort out a new manager so these two guys don't have to try and save our skin. I mean, people aren't too... Yeah, I mean, as I say, people are commenting here saying they're not a fan of Scholes either. I mean... as I say, the point was that these guys, you know, he was basically just sticking up for his mate, and it was quite disappointing to hear them say that. The fact that they're just completely ignoring the fact that Steve Bruce hasn't won a game this season and he's won 7 games in 38 matches, and saying that they think he deserves a chance. What? It was the last year and a half not a chance, or 2 years. I mean, what world are these people in? Yes, he did keep us up. We did not get relegated, but good God, he didn't toe the line. And as I say, we look nowhere near winning the game this season. You know, and this is the scary thing as well, is because fixture-wise, our fixtures haven't been too bad this season so far. Like we have obviously played. So we played Spurs. Obviously, that's a tough one. We played Manchester United. Went to that one and watched us lose. But otherwise, who the hell did we start against? Was it was Norwich the friendly, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we lost to West Ham first game. We lost to Villa second game. Again, they're good teams, but I mean, these are teams we should hope they're not. You know, they're not top five. They're not top 6. You know, we should definitely be looking to try and pick something up. Hang on, I'll put this on the screen so you guys can see it as well. Oh, that's very small, and that's not much bigger to be honest. But can I zoom in a little bit? Okay, so that was the friendly against Norwich. We lost against West Ham. I mean, okay, I'll take it. We lost against Villa. I think we should be doing better there. We drew against Southampton, which again, at home against another struggling side. It's a point, but it should have been 3. We lost against Manchester United, which I mean, what can you really say about that? But now taking on, you know, a Leeds side who have been poor this season, a Watford side who have just been promoted, a Wolves side who hadn't won in about 6 games till they played against us, and then a useless display against Spurs. So, you know, Manchester United and Spurs, even then, you know, they're like what, top 6 sides. So of the 8 games we've played so far, there's 4 other relegation candidates, and we picked up 3 draws. You know, it's not enough. And then you look at what we're going into next. I mean, Crystal Palace is going to be a tough game because they always put out a good side against us. We struggle at Selhurst Park. I think I've been there four times and they've not seen us win. So yeah, it's that is not going to be a good one. Chelsea, I mean, I can't see us getting anything there. Brighton away on telly as well. They've been brilliant this season, so I can see us getting hammered in that one as well. Although, again, start of the season, I would have looked at that as being a possible chance for points, but because of how good they've looked, Brentford are a promoted side. Brentford are a promoted side, and I still think we'll probably lose against them because they've actually looked like they can play football, and we can't pass the ball straight. Then we're taking on Arsenal, which again is much as they haven't been on form. So, you're looking at what the next 5 games. Are we going to win any of these with Bruce still in charge? I think it'll be tough. Sorry, I'm catching up on your chats now because I've just been smashing through all that. Yeah, Manchester United haven't been great this season, but they've been a damn sight better than we have. And they've got someone like Ronaldo. I mean, as I say, at least Wilson's back from injury now, so hopefully he can try and help with a couple of goals. But just in terms of fixtures, I think the point I was trying to make was, you look at the games we played against Southampton, Leeds, Watford, Wolves. 3 points from those 4 games, I think, is not enough. And now you're looking at away to Palace, home to Chelsea, away to Brighton, Brentford even, and then Arsenal. And then, you're really looking at these Norwich and Burnley games as 6-pointers. Palace were good against Arsenal. Yes, I mean, I think Vieira has had a bit of an up and down start, but overall, I think he's got a bit of a vision there. He's let a few older players go. He's let go of what's he called? Townsend. He let go of Townsend, and then he's gone and scored goals for Everton. So, you look at that and think, yeah, he probably could have kept a hold of him, but he's let go of a lot of older players like Gary Cahill and a few other guys who probably still could have done a job. It's the complete opposite of us. We are holding on to these players until they physically need a Zimmer frame to get out of the club. People, and I don't want to have a go at anyone, but Dwight Gale, I mean, I'm sorry, but again, when Wilson's injured, he's still not getting on the pitch. What has Gale got to do to get some game time? Right, I've had enough of talking about Brucey because it's just too upsetting. Let's talk about some transfer rumours, and by that I just basically mean Jesse Lingard. Obviously, we've got 2 months till the January transfer, and the big thing on everyone's minds is where are we going to be where we get to the January transfer? I think really we need to still be in contention and not get relegated. I mean, who was just saying that before about the table. I mean, I'll get this up here as well. Why not? That's where we are right now. I mean, it's not pretty at all because, yes, Norwich haven't won a game yet, and yes, Burnley have been rubbish as well, but one win, a win against Crystal Palace could well be enough for us to get out of the relegation zone. But again, as someone was saying earlier on, this gap can easily open up, and I do think we will bring some players in January. Yeah, we've got a couple of shouts here. Lingard and Ramsey, I think I'd happily take both of them, definitely. And Tarkowski as well. I think that, again, I'm really not very picky at the minute. I would take anyone. Just sign everyone. Yeah, just a win on the board would help. I mean, this is the thing. I think a lot of what people are talking about, and obviously everyone who isn't a Newcastle fan, all they are talking about is who are Newcastle going to buy? How much money are they going to spend? What are they going to do next? And I mean, that is a very important thing for us going forward. But in terms of like the here and now, we need to make sure that when we get to January, we are actually in a position where we can pull away from this bottom 3. And I actually do think that providing Bruce is gone, and whether it's Eddie Howe or Lampard or whoever, if we can give them from now till January and then some money to spend in January, I think one of those managers would keep us up. And I really don't want to eat my own words, so I'm not going to bang on about it too long, but I do think that our team has got some decent players. Steve Bruce's Black and White Army, 1,000 game, 900 clubs. I mean, again, it's mind-boggling that he's still here. But yeah, as I say, in terms of just actually making it to January, to actually give some of these guys a chance to bring some players in and try and improve before the season ends, because the longer this goes on for, playing the way we are, it's only going to make it harder and harder to get away from where we are. Like, I get it. There's the first choice manager isn't available. We don't know who that is. Was that Conte? Was that Rafa back? Was it Mourinho? I mean, or Steven Gerrard? That we don't know who that plan A manager was. But I think that whoever it was has said no. And now we are looking at plan B, C, D, and E, possibly. Who knows? But the longer it takes for us to get Bruce out and get a new manager in, is the less time the new manager is going to have to try and get us out of that bottom three. And I do think we will have a new manager by the time we get to January. And I do think we will spend some money on, you know, again, this is like immediate future. You know, I'd love to see us go out and buy this youngster who's going to do well, and I think he'll be a great asset moving forward. You know, all that would be great. But what I really want is to just bring in 3 or 4 players who know the league, know how to pass the ball straight, can lump it out if they need to, and just play proper football to keep us in the league. And I think players like Jesse Lingard have been around long enough to add a bit of extra quality. I mean, again, he can definitely pass a ball straight, which is more than I can say about, you know, again, Joe Linton, he works hard, bless him, but he's really struggling at the minute. And again, Tarkowski, I think is a player who has been around the block and knows how to defend. You know, I think he knows how to chase a man and he knows how to kick it out. I don't think he's going to be a miracle worker, but when you've got the likes of, you know, Clark, the poor bloke who's, again, getting on in age and getting slower every day, we need to bring a replacement in. We've got a few of you guys would have thrown out a few names here. We've got Mark talking about John Stones and Sterling. Would make sense on a loan deal. They would keep us up. They get a payday. I mean, I would definitely take them both, Mark. I'd love it. But I do love the point of the loan deal as well, because that's something else we should seriously consider. The idea of where we want to be now or in 10 years' time is very different. The now is, let's get into the 17th place. You know, if we can maybe even have a few experienced players brought in on a permanent basis who can play the next 2-3 years, see how they get on. But I also massively agree with the loan scenario. You know, what was it? People were tweeting about, because obviously with the takeover, everyone was tweeting about, I was a Newcastle fan when the Shearer statue wasn't allowed to be put in St. James's Park. I was a Newcastle fan when Mike Ashley wouldn't pay the 2 million loan fee for Twanzebe or whatever it was. I mean, some of them were just so ridiculous. But this is the thing. I mean, these clubs are going to know we've got money. They're going to try and charge us more than they're worth. But thank God that if we do try and go for a loan player, we will actually stump up the 2 million loan fee. And I definitely don't think it's a bad idea. I think bringing players in on loan, again, possibly not youngsters, but more experienced players who know how to win a football match, know how to keep a ball, and are willing to work hard. Tarkowski, Ramsey, Lingard, and a striker. Well, again, I saw someone talking about this, and yeah, the Buller boys in there. It's beyond me why Gale never came on to replace Wilson. It's like asking a plumber to hang on a door. I mean, again, I've been saying this since the start of the season. When Gale stayed, when Gale stayed, I thought, right. And Andy Carroll left, wasn't it? And Bruce said, we have the backup. We don't need another striker. And I'm thinking, what? Is Gale the only replacement we've got? And I'm thinking, well, you know what? Maybe he's had a good preseason. Maybe Steve Bruce has seen something that we haven't seen. We saw Gale get 2 in the preseason match against Norwich, and I'm thinking, oh, is Gale switched on for this season? Has he? Wilson gets injured and we play St. Max up front on his own. And then I absolutely agree with you there, mate. The fact that Wilson goes off and we don't even bring Gale on. It's absolutely crazy. And that's the thing. I think January, one of the transfers that will most likely make is a striker. Not only do we desperately need a striker, but you know what these guys are like, and new owners, if they've got some money, they want to spend it on a player that's gonna, give a bit of a wow factor. Tarkowski, I don't think he'll do that. I absolutely have him, and we don't just want to buy one player who's flash, because we need an actual 3 or 4 players who are going to do the hard job in the middle of the park, but to have that finesse up front to, work with St. Max and with Wilson. Imagine having Wilson in the middle with St. Max on one wing and somebody else on the other. Or even 2 strikers. Imagine playing with 2 strikers up front. Wouldn't that be madness? 4 at the back and 2 up front. It's been a long time since Newcastle have played more than 1 forward player, I think. It would be great to actually see us try and play a bit of expansive football, not just slog it up from the back. So obviously we'll have to see how we'll get on. Loftus Cheek a shout as well. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a good bunch of these players who were on there, who were on the fringes of other teams. And again, that's something that people have mentioned about the manager situation. Lampard, he was a guy who went in, worked with some of these players. He's got a link with Chelsea. Chelsea have got about 100 players who they could loan us. Could we bring Lampard in and then see if we can get some of these ex-Chelsea players in on a loan deal, or he'll definitely have the connections. This is Hazard. Bye, Bruce. I really hope so. This is the thing. Even if we did give Bruce till January, and God forbid that we did, he hasn't got the pull. No one wants to come and play under Steve Bruce. I'm really sorry. Not only will we still be in the relegation zone if he's still here, but even if he's given the money, who's he bringing in? You've got to look at someone like Lampard or whoever who's going to have some connections, who's going to be trying to build an actual future, who would actually be willing to come and play for us. Because I really don't think that anyone would want to go in and play for Steve Bruce. So not only do we need to change the manager now so that we can try and save our season before it's too late, but also come January, we need to actually have a manager who can have a bit of pull. Yeah. Bovad, I heard Eddie Howe could be the man. Thoughts? Yeah, we spoke about Eddie Howe a little bit earlier. I think the thing with me was that Eddie Howe's linked as us as manager before we had the takeover, and when we had the takeover, that list of Lampard or Eddie Howe suddenly went to like 50 names. So yes, I am not choosy at this moment in time. I will have anyone. And I would take Eddie Howe over Steve Bruce in a heartbeat. So if that got announced, I would more than happily cheer on Saturday against Crystal Palace for Eddie Howe and for the team to try and go on and try and save the start of this season. The only thing that's slightly wondering to me is that before we had the money, Eddie Howe and Lampard were linked. Then we got the money, and as I say, that list went from 3 to 100 different managers that we might get. And when he started reading some of these other names, like Rodgers and like Conte, I'm thinking, ooh, Could we actually even go one better now? So I'd kind of already left Howe where he was back before we had the takeover. Then I got excited for all of this new shiny managers. And now I'm back over here again looking at Eddie Howe. So it's not that I don't think he's a good choice. It's not that I don't think he would do better than Steve Bruce, because I definitely do. It's just that he hasn't been in the job for a long time. Why has he not been in the job for a long time? Is he because he's taken some personal time, or is it because no one wants him? He did effectively get Bournemouth relegated in the end. And someone did mention it earlier, and it's that when he did go out and spend some money, he didn't spend it very wisely. But Ibe and Solanke or whatever it was. So again, though, as I was saying about the fact that if we did bring in some loan players, we are talking like immediate future. We're talking, let's sort our season out right now. As much as I'd love for us to bring in a handful of youngsters who's going to up and coming players who are going to do great for us. You've also got to look at the now, and I think Eddie Howe now would definitely be better than Steve Bruce. And I think because of what he did at Bournemouth, because he brought them up through the leagues, he understands what a relegation battle is, although he did fail in one when he got them relegated. But he definitely knows what he's doing in that department. And then you're looking at, in a year or two's time, are we going to give him 200 million and let him loose? Or are we going to try and have a look at who else is available, Again, thank you to everyone who's joined the live stream. Be sure to drop a like if you are watching it. We've just hit over an hour. And be sure to subscribe as well. I am going to be at the Crystal Palace game this weekend, so I cannot wait for that. I am excited for the first away game under the new era. I'm just praying to God that Steve Bruce has left. I will enjoy it nevertheless. I always do. It's normally the 90 minutes of football that spoils the match days these days, but I always do my best to enjoy it. I think that if Steve Bruce is there, we'll just lose again. We always do. I mean, I think Palace is the ground I've been to the most. I think I've been there. I think every game for the last. Obviously, the COVID season didn't count. I think I've been there like four seasons in a row. I don't know what it is about Palace that keeps me going back. I suppose it's a London team that isn't Arsenal, Chelsea, or whoever. It's a London team that we might actually get a win against. I mean, that's one downside as a Newcastle fan. Everything's so far away. There is no near away days anymore. The closest one is Leeds, and you'll do well to get a ticket for that one because that's the one everyone wants to go to. London isn't cheap, to be honest, to get down there, but thankfully I've got a friend who lives down there, so I'm going to make a weekend of it. And I am actually meeting Matty, the Magpie Man, Magpie channel on the Friday. So I've actually taken a day off work on Friday to go down a day early and really make the most of it. No, unfortunately, Mr. Cabbage Head hasn't not gone yet, Gav. We have talked about it quite a lot today, and it has been. It's been one of those streams. I think it's been a frustrating one for a lot of people watching. I think everyone is just wondering how the hell is Bruce still here? And I think this question will continue to go on. I mean, I am hoping to keep this Toon Tuesdays going every Tuesday. I really hope that next week that we're not talking about Bruce and we can talk about how positive the new manager has been and how great Eddie Howe did to win against Crystal Palace. That would be good, wouldn't it? When you get rid of the Sports Direct signs around the stadium, that's just a blot on the landscape now. When you get rid of again, and I spoke about this last week as well. This is one of the things I put at the top of my list for the things that needed to happen when the new owners came in, and that was to get rid of those Sports Direct signs. Unfortunately for us, and again, this was one of the first things I spoke about, was the fact that I knew Ashley was going to have done something. Well, I was literally there on the Thursday night talking about those Sports Direct signs, and now how that would definitely be the first thing I did would be take those down. And we're being told that they're going to have to stay up for a short amount of time. I'm hoping that means that the deal ends this calendar year and that they don't now stay until the end of the season. But unfortunately, I think that that could well be it. I mean, one thing we could talk about as well today, because I did actually put it in the title, I think. I mean, I've changed the title about 4 times because, as I say, I could have done about 7 separate videos today of everything that's been going on Newcastle United related. I mean, one other thing that's going on is that the Premiership teams have voted. Obviously, Newcastle did vote, but we voted no. Man City abstained from their vote. And it's to block any future sponsorship deals from the club with existing businesses that the owners already own. That was a bit of a mouthful. Basically, what they're trying to do on a sixpence is turn around and say, well, Newcastle have got these new owners in and they're going to have loads of really good sponsorship links. So let's vote that you're not allowed to make sponsorship deals with companies that you already owned. Madness. What they reckon they're saying is that apparently this is something that has been spoken about a lot, but has now chivied them along because they've realized if they don't pass it quickly, Newcastle may well have a whole extra money to spend. Where was this vote for the last 14 years when we've had those Sports Direct signs up? Like, why is it suddenly like it's? I mean, I'm a Newcastle fan. I'm going to be massively biased, obviously, but it seems crazy. You know, you've got these Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, etc., all trying to block the deal go through in the first place. These teams were trying to set up a Super League 5 minutes ago. You know, how do they get a say in what we do in the league? Like, the Premiership should be like a neutral entity. It should be like a referee. It should be like an umpire. You know, it should be someone who stands in the middle and just says, you know, we agree this, we don't agree this. You know, the fact that Premier League teams get to vote on stuff, I think is crazy. I mean, obviously, you need to have an opinion. You know, this is why Newcastle fans want to have people like Alan Shearer and Keegan in the ambassador role, because we want to have like the best club's interests at heart. So I do get that clubs should definitely have a say in their own league, but to jump on a 360 and decide a new rule that Newcastle can't have sponsorships because of whatever is just mad. Imagine if don't even joke about it, Tony, because I'm already upset that the Sports Direct signs are still up, you know. But I mean, all that stuff is just crazy. I mean, again, and I do get it, and there's a lot of different opinion on what's right and what's wrong, and who should own what football club. But like, this isn't new. You know, this isn't because Newcastle suddenly got bought. Let's all have a big say on it. You know, Man City got bought like however many years ago, and there might have been some contention over it or whatever, but they didn't suddenly make a rule that it couldn't happen. You know, Chelsea, you know, Russian owner again. You know, I'm not going to point fingers, but I mean, and I think a lot of Premier League owners you'd probably could have a similar conversation on, but just because the amount of money is so high at Newcastle, everyone's crap themselves and gone, oh, well, hang on, we better make up some new rules, you know, which just does feel very harsh and unfair. And what we just sit here and accept it, you know, what do I do about that? You know, I just sit here and go, all right, okay. I mean, the fact is that we already have, and also as well, yeah, it's. I mean, there's a lot of comments for you guys here, so thank you for getting involved. I mean, Yeah, the sponsorship ban isn't mad. It's born out of pure jealousy. I mean, as I say, if someone could show me the meeting notes that they've been discussing it for the last 6 months, and it just happened to coincide, or maybe they've been talking about it for the last 5 years, but it literally just feels like, oh, hang on, there was a takeover here, so we better just make up a new quick rule. That is basically how it feels as a Newcastle fan. To be honest, it's just mad. So we'll have to see. Well, this is it, mate. I think what they've said so far is that apparently it's going to last 1 month, and then in that time, it's going to be discussed as to whether it should be a full-time ban on, again, what existing businesses are not allowed to sponsor your own football club or something. But I mean, this is it, and look there. I mean, if there'll be a way around it. I mean, these guys with money always know what to do. I wish I knew some of these tricks of the trade to get this money where I want it to be. But I mean, what this is all based on the fact as well is that Newcastle are going to go out and are going to blow like hundreds and hundreds of millions in January and in the summer. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that doesn't sound good, but like, I want to see the journey as well. Like, a lot of this is all based around the fact that these clubs are now scared and Newcastle are going to spend loads more money than they are, right? I mean, these, you know, who's the Spurs owner? Is it Levy? I mean, he's a billionaire. He's got loads of money and he just doesn't spend it either. You know, Ashley had 5 billion. You know, he could have threw a few, or was it 10 billion? You know, Ashley had the money and he didn't spend it. You know, just because we're now got 300 billion doesn't mean we're going to spend half of it tomorrow. You know, and these big owners have the money if they want to spend it as well. They just choose not to. So it's not that they're arguing that we are going to spend more than them. They're pretty much arguing that they don't really want to because they don't want to have to keep up with us. Like, that's just as annoying as anything else. They have the money if they want to spend it. You think about these teams that like global teams, Manchester United, you know, again, the shirt sales from Ronnie must have been tremendous. You know, they have the money if they want to. So, but rather than them spending a little bit extra, they'll just make a rule that Newcastle can't spend as much anymore because they can't get their sponsor deal. I mean, come on, it's crazy. Or it's not mad, it's jealousy, as that guy said earlier. So we'll have to wait and see. But one thing I will say is that I don't expect I could, you know, and again, we're getting political now, and I like to just talk football, so I'm not going to harp on about this bit for too long. But if we wanted to spend the money, I'm sure we could. But on the other side of the coin, I don't, you know, we do definitely need to spend money in January and definitely again in the summer. But first things first, I want Steve Bruce out and I want a new manager. And what I also want is, again, as I say, is like January's 2 months away, you know, to try and plan our Newcastle United's 10-year future in the next 2 months, I think is asking too much. What I want to see this January is bring in people like Lingard. Even if Lingard's on a loan till the end of the season, pay the 5 million loan fee and we'll just have Lingard on loan till the end of the season. Like, I think that's still a good signing. That is the signing that will help us not get relegated. It means we're not trapping ourselves into a long-term player who we may or may not want come the summer. If there's a new manager in by then, maybe he'll want to do something different. You know, maybe we'll bring in, I don't know, someone on a short-term manager deal because we still don't know what we're doing with that. You know, they're trying to make a lot of decisions very quickly. This is why Steve Bruce has ended up being able to hang around for so long, is because no one's been able to make a finite decision on what's actually happening. So, you know, let's not try and plan our whole future in the next 2 minutes. Let's just get Bruce out, get Eddie Howe in. Come January, we'll look at some of these players, like, again, Jesse Lingard. Stones has obviously been spoken about a lot. Tarkowski. I mean, we need these players to come in. And again, you know, someone like, mean, John Stones has been linked. I don't know whether he'd want to come and play in a relegation battle with Newcastle. I think, to be honest, I think John Stones would rather sit on the bench at Man City than come and play in a relegation zone with Newcastle. But I'm not gonna speak for him. Maybe he'd fancy it just for the game time. But if he doesn't want to pledge his even if he doesn't want to pledge his next 5 years to Newcastle, he doesn't have to. I'll pay I won't personally pay it. Hopefully, Newcastle will pay it. Pay the 5 million loan for him, Loftus-Cheek, whoever. Let's bring in some of these guys who clearly have some talent, clearly can work together, and let's just try and bring in some Premier League proven players. Van der Beek has been spoken about a lot. Again, he is another player who is extremely talented and is hated by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, from what I can see. So again, he might not want to pledge his life to relegation battle Newcastle, but he surely will want the game time, at least in the short term, unless we sell him the future. But again, it's trying to fix a problem now before we're trying to fix what we're doing in 10 years. Some of these guys I'd definitely take back. I mean, Bovard here. I mean, I'd happily have Lingard, Tarkowski, and Townsend. I mean, he started the season great. He was on a free this season. We were obviously linked with him pre-season, but again, why would he choose Newcastle over Everton? Really? Again, Rafa Benitez. Again, it just always keeps going back to the manager. Steve Bruce has got no pull. Like, no one wants to play for us right now, and that's. He needs to go immediately because we need to try and win a game. But should he manage to last till January, he can't, can he? He can't. He really can't. He is not going to have conversation with players and make them feel like they want to come and play for us. I mean, again, we're talking old school now. We're talking about ambassadors, and obviously there was some fantastic pictures at Newcastle United last night of ex-players. You think back to the days of Kevin Keegan as manager, Shearer. Obviously, he was a Geordie and he wanted to come and play for his old home club. But, having someone like Keegan as manager is really going to actually entice you in. Not, well, we might try and play one up front. We might just keep hammering the ball to 3-foot Fraser and maybe we'll get a goal. It's every time. Should charge you extra for that impression. But you've just got to laugh because it's just so ridiculous. Yeah. That's another really good point, Nathan. I think decisions will be made quicker once we have a director of football. I think, again, that is... I mean, I don't... Maybe I am just impatient, or just maybe I thought this would happen a lot quicker. But when I was outside celebrating at St. James's Park, I actually thought like this stuff would be done like in a week. And I think what I've kind of come to realize over the last week or so, it took us, what was it? The takeover went through in about 24 hours. Like, it went from it might be happening to it is happening to drinking cans outside of St. James's Park. Like, it literally happened that quickly. And I thought that these guys would have had a week or two or even longer to have planned and decided this, and already maybe have spoken to a couple of managers and maybe had already done a little bit of this groundwork. I'm now kind of realizing that this takeover was probably as much of a shock, or not quite as much, maybe a few days sooner. But I'm realizing that this takeover might have been more of a quick turnaround for them than I thought it was, because I honestly thought that they would have already been on the phone to a manager, and Bruce would have gone day one. So the fact that he's still here is crazy. And I also think the the director of football as well is massive, because at the moment, there was a meeting recently and Charnley went again. Like, how is he still here? I understand that as much as Charnley was useless, that they still are, the new owners are walking into a job that really they are learning. They're learning on the job. They don't know it yet. So as rubbish as Charnley is, they still need someone to kind of tell them what they've missed over the last 5-6 years. But again, this is why you need to bring in your own director of football. And again, I've seen a few different links for that as well. So it's more stuff that needs to be sorted out. And I just think for Newcastle fans, the thing for Newcastle fans is we are terrible on the pitch. Right? That's the top and bottom of it. And we need these changes to come in. We can't change the players till January. It's going to be the same squad till January. And even then in January, I think it'll be a couple of players, maybe 5 max. We're not going to buy 17 new players in January. We're not going to buy a new squad. We're going to buy, hopefully, 3 new players, 2 loan deals. And again, if you put them alongside Wilson, St. Max, Dubravka, anyone else? Willock. Put them alongside these guys. It's close to a new starting 11. And that's when players can have a bit more squad depth and can actually do something. But as I say, January's still 2 months away. And we need to start getting some points before then, which is why, for me, you can't change the players. The players can't change till January. What you can change is Steve Bruce. So I really think Steve Bruce till January, don't say that stuff. Mate, it is a nightmare. The whole thing's a nightmare. It was 8 now. That was 8. That was the 8th week, wasn't it? 8 games without a win. 19 goals. Oh, no. Yeah. 19 goals conceded. Is that right? 19 goals conceded. We have the worst goals against. Jesus. That is shocking. I didn't realize we'd let that many goals in. We've let in more than Norwich. Wow. We've scored 10. Norwich have scored 2. So again, this is what it shows you. St. Max and Wilson when he's fit up front. And then it's that 19 at the back. I mean, the whole Murphy-Ritchie fullback thing, I mean, that went well, didn't it, at the start of the season? Absolutely crazy. Bravka, Wilson, ASM, Shaw, and Willock are the only good players I really want to keep. I mean, I absolutely agree with you, mate. I think even Shaw. And again, this is something else we could talk about like all day long. I mean, a lot of these players are the same players we had, 3 years ago. And Rafa was getting a tune out of them. Why was Sean Longstaff worth 40 million 3 years ago? And now he's worth 40p. Like, what has gone on? It's mad. We need to change something. We can't change the players till January. We need to change Steve Bruce now. Again, the thing that is worrying me is just the fact that I am checking Twitter religiously just in case it happened while we were on, but I think it's too late now. I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened at around 6 o'clock tomorrow lunchtime now. I think if we get to Thursday and Brucey's still in, I think he'll be there on Sunday as well. Yeah, I'm just getting sidetracked watching this over. I mean, people are talking over here about Steven Gerrard again, and what this is the what am I on here? This is the Chronicle we're on here. The headline is Steven Gerrard would have a Kevin Keegan-like impact at Newcastle. And I think this is the big thing. I was hoping that the new owners and the atmosphere at the weekend would have basically been that impact that the players needed to play better. That was the impact I was hoping that those players were going to receive on the Sunday, and it wasn't enough. And this always happens. This always happens against Newcastle. Actually, I swear to God, whenever we are coming up against a team who have been terrible, they get a new manager in, and they get the new manager bounce and manage to beat us. And we need the new manager bounce. Let's just get 3 new managers this season. We'll get Eddie Howe in for the first few months. We'll get someone else in for the next few months. Let's just ride on a manager bounce to just try and get us to the end of the season. I mean, Watford, what they promoted side, 7 points from 8, 16th place, and they brought a new manager in. Why the hell are we still sitting with Steve Bruce? I mean, would you have had Ranieri? I think I'd rather have Eddie Howe. But again, it's the new manager boost. People know Ranieri won the league with Leicester. That is a league-winning manager walking in there, and regardless of whether you think his football's good or not or how he would do, that is a man the players are going to go, oh, right, we have a league-winning manager here now. We better wake up and do something. Steven Gerrard walking in, Champions League player, winner. Wow, we better do something here. Like Steve Bruce is walking in every day with his bacon sarnies and no one cares. Like that's as much as anything, and this is going to be a conversation that isn't going to end until Steve Bruce goes, because we can't change the players. Hands off Gerrard. Yeah, I mean, Gerrard's not going to come. Gerrard's not going to go to Newcastle. He's going to stay at Rangers. The only way I think we would have got Gerrard is if it happened in a summer. Sean's asking about the right backs and left backs. I mean, believe it or not, I think Mankio's looked all right since he's come in. I think it was Murphy who was terrible at the start of the season. I don't want Kraft anywhere near the team, ideally. Left back, Richie, again, I think we asked too much for Richie trying to play the full wing-back role. I think left back, he looks a little bit safer. Dummett's injured, and Lewis, good God, where is he as well? He's the only actual left back we have, because I would say Dummett's more of a left-sided centre back, and he can't get in the team. How's it going, mate? Monkey Suit. I think the takeover and crowd hyped the players. We saw that the first 10 minutes. It was just that Bruce had too many days off and our team is not fit enough to battle long. I definitely agree. I think the first 10 minutes, the players did look hyped. We started the game really well, and I was so excited when Wilson scored. And I actually thought we were going to do something. And as the game went on, well, we scored and then decided to try and defend for 89 minutes again. Like, I don't know why that is anyone's tactic. It's not let's keep the ball. We started lumping it long. We started sitting deep in our own box. Like, it's just the same old stuff. Like, we've been good for scoring goals. We've scored a few. We've scored a few early goals. Just constantly, just like collapsing as a side. Like we can't hold together, 45 minutes of play at a time. Like we'll do 10 minutes good and then we'll switch off for 15 and then we'll have to switch on again for another 10. And again, it's just, I honestly think the way it is now, I just don't think Bruce can turn it around. I think it's been bad for too long. Teams have ups and downs. Teams will play well at times. Teams will play bad at times. Like, no one is always going to be, unless, was it the Invincibles is the last time we've had a team go the whole season without losing a game, so, and it's Liverpool's the only team who hasn't lost yet. this season in the first 8? Yeah, it is. So teams will have ups and downs. You know, like teams will win games, they'll lose games. But we have been so bad for too long. Bruce can't do anything now to get these players back. For me, I think the players have lost any hope of what we're doing. Again, we spoke about it earlier. Lascelles and Hayden fighting. You know, that's like the 4th bust up we've heard about in the last year or so. It's not like it's just a one-off thing. Like the players are unhappy. There's unrest. This should be the happy time with the new with the new owners, and instead the players are fighting. It's just crazy. Again, as I say, what I'm hoping for is that was 2 players getting argumentative over the fact that we haven't been good enough. And if that's why they were fighting, I'm glad they were fighting, because someone needs to be fighting about that, because we have been terrible. Lewis and Fraser we signed last summer and completely forgot about it. Yeah, I mean, why Fraser's got no game time, I'll never know. I just saw another one there. Well, that was it yourself, mate. Bring Lewis back in the fold. Well, again, you know, is this the Bruce effect? Like, is Lewis just literally dropped off the cliff? You know, Fraser was a good player. We need someone who can have a different idea, a different mentality. Let's get something out of these players. Am I going to Brighton? I don't think I am going to Brighton, James. I am going to Crystal Palace this weekend. I am going to be at the Chelsea home game, and then I won't be at Brighton. I'll be at the Brentford home game, and then I'm undecided about Arsenal. I would like to go to Leicester, actually. Oh, has that been moved for TV? Oh, no. Maybe I can't go to Leicester now. Wait, what? It has. It's been moved to a Sunday. No. Okay, we'll have to see how it goes with that one. But no, I'm not at Brighton. I'm at Crystal Palace. I can't wait. Hi, Rami. Thanks for joining the stream. If you guys are watching right now, please drop a like on the stream. We've got over 100 people watching. If you are new and you have enjoyed it, please subscribe. I am going to wrap up the live stream here. If you are watching as a video and you've managed to watch an hour and a half of me yapping on about Newcastle and you're still watching right now and you've not subscribed yet, then please do hit the button. I will be doing my Premier League predictions, I think, tomorrow night. So look out for that. I had over 200 predictions last week. So it's safe to say it is going to take me a while to go through them and see who this week's winner was. I got no correct scores for the Premier League this weekend, so it really was not my week. So hopefully I can do a little bit better for this weekend. And then, as I say, I am going to the Palace game this Saturday, so look out for the vlog Saturday evening. I'm going down a night early. I'm going to be meeting up with Matty Renty, the Magpie channel. So I'm hoping to do a few videos with them prior to the game. Hopefully by then I would have already done a reaction for Steve Bruce being let out of a job. Again, I do think that the minutes, they are basically waiting to have the next manager ready to go. So I do think that the Steve Bruce going, the new manager coming will literally be like that. It will be one and the other very quickly. So yeah, thank you all for watching. As always, as I say, if you've not dropped a like yet, please do. It's a lot of fun doing these Toon Tuesdays live, so I'm glad. I hope you guys have enjoyed them as well. Please talk a lot about Newcastle, mate. I can't not talk about Newcastle at the minute. There's so much going on. And I will do that. Yes, if you've not seen it before, it'll be out tomorrow. It's my full Premier League preview. I preview all of the games, including, and it will include the Newcastle versus Crystal Palace game as well. So if you want to see what my prediction is for that one, I've not actually said it yet. So if you want to see what that is, be sure to watch tomorrow's video as well. All right, guys, big thank you, and I'll catch you later.